Hey guys, this is John.
And I'm Ali.
And this is another episode of the Meatgistics podcast brought to you by Waltons.
Mm-hmm.
Go to waltons.com for all of your meat processing needs. So we've got a couple of things that we're going to do during this podcast right to kick it off. We've got some bratwursts and interesting buns.
Yeah.
We've got some lollipop soda. Olipop soda. It's
like
ginger
Ali,
ale.
but not.
And I've got some creamer I'm going to add to
I'm
it because
done.
that is my current absolute addiction.
Okay, I have to set the record straight though, because John kept talking about this and calling it dirty soda. He's like, it's a new thing.
What's new to us?
No, it's not.
To me.
Italian soda, at least, has been around since like the 20s. And Italian soda with a splash of cream has also been around for a long time. So I'm excited to try this though. Why is
it's
it
way
warm?
better with that stuff. I mean, it's not, my hand is over it, I'm sure.
Like the lid is warm.
Speaking of warm,
is that too much?
I unplugged our, it's
I don't
probably
know.
too much.
I
I unplugged our deep freeze last night because it was
Is
so
it okay?
hot. It's still pretty warm. Still pretty warm.
What would cause that?
I don't, dirty coils. So I pulled it away from the wall, opened up all the panels, looked for somewhere where there was coils, and there's no coils.
Nothing.
So I don't know how that thing's keeping anything. I think it's magic.
Just don't
Like,
ask
we have a
questions.
magic chest freezer.
Everything's cold in there still, right?
Everything, well, what first kind of clued me into maybe we had a problem is I was leaning up against it, looking into it to grab things to go to Pheasant Fest. And I'm like, why are my legs so hot? And I felt down there. I was like, ooh, that is really hot. And then I grabbed some snack sticks that had been in there for about 48 hours. Well, actually longer, since Friday. So they should be rock solid. And had like a little squish to them.
Yeah.
So I started getting kind of worried.
Ooh.
I didn't want it to catch fire, so I unplugged it.
Yeah.
But it's been plugged in all day and seems to be fine. I put more stuff in there. I put pork butts, so maybe it's just struggling to get it
Maybe.
down.
Good question. Yeah,
Could
maybe
be.
there's just a
It
lot
really
of stuff
could
in
be
there.
that. But it was, I mean, it was hot. Like the
Yeah.
first time I touched it, I'm like, oh, that is uncomfortably hot.
Yeah.
Wasn't
This actually
expecting
brings up a good question about I have the bad habit of I'll take something out of the freezer and put it in the fridge and then like a day later go, crap, I shouldn't have taken this out yet. I should have waited. If it starts to thaw out, at what point do you not want to put it back into the freezer?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, really what we're concerned about, especially with like whole chunks of meat, is you're going to start getting some degradation of quality, right? Once you defrost, frost. If you're putting it back in within 24 hours, you really are fine.
Let's say Ali waits 4 days.
4 days is too long. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it vacuum packed?
Let's say vacuum packed steak.
Okay. Steak's never getting thrown out.
I got scared because I set a steak out to thaw vacuum packed and it was out for about a week. And
what's going on at your apartment here?
I got
These
sick.
Are poor. Oh, good.
I
point.
was.
Good
I had
point.
tonsillitis for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
that's fair.
now we're back and
Okay.
yeah. So I like set it out. I was gonna cook it. Obviously didn't. And then I was like freaking out about it. And I was like, well, I'll call in, the big guns on this. Call up my father.
Yeah.
AKA Brett.
What'd he say?
He goes, no, you should be fine if it's been a week and it's vacuum packed. So then he came in and he talked to Dave about it.
Yeah.
And he came to me and told me afterwards. And the way he started it, I thought I was going to
Freaked you
die.
out? Yeah.
Because I was like, I ate it already. Like, whatever you
It's
said,
too
I
late.
ate
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
So we're done. He goes, no, when you think about it, it's almost just like wet aging it. So it could really last a few weeks. If
So-
it's vacuum packed. If it's vacuum packed.
Okay,
if it's not, if there's any sort of spillage or
There's
whatever.
also
it's
more
different.
to it than just that, right? It depends on how long has it been since it was vacuum packed. You don't know that, right? This was
Fair.
our beef, so we're a little bit more in control of it.
I would say
assume this was ours.
Yes,
Right, okay.
we know pretty much.
So you're a little bit
when
more
it
in
was.
control of it. But if you're buying it from the store, you don't know how long it was until that got into the cooler
Yeah.
or wherever it was. You don't know how long it was transported to there. So
So here's another ad to buy
Be more
local
safe.
meat.
Yes.
Buy a cow and know when and where it's coming from and all those things.
or just plan ahead and play it safe.
Or just don't get tonsillitis
Don't do that.
and you'll be fine.
All right. The other thing we've got is we made some St. Patrick's Day bratwurst. What is St. Patrick's Day bratwurst, you may ask?
John, what is St. Patrick's Day bratwurst?
Well, let me tell you. It is a Rueben bratwurst
Mm-hmm.
that I added sauerkraut into the mix with.
Okay.
I used high temp Swiss cheese. I then put sauerkraut and Russian dressing on the top.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we got this rustic rye bread that we made.
What makes it
buns out of.
rustic?
I think seeds on the outside, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. It said
Wow, sounds
rustic
fancy.
on the thing.
Okay.
Do you want to try a piece? You probably don't want the bread.
I'm probably
assuming.
gonna just chop some of it, but it looks pretty. It looks nice.
I love sauerkraut.
Just dive right in. With
Honestly, same.
So sauerkraut and this Ali Pop soda, we're gonna have so many good bacterias going around in our guts.
Yeah, I also drank part of a kombucha today. So, what is?
Oh gosh, gross.
You don't like that piece of?
No, it's. I don't know how to eat it if it's.
She's struggling, ladies. and
Yeah, I
gentlemen.
couldn't eat these. I'm not a huge sauerkraut guy.
Patrick doesn't like the Germans.
That's so good.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, I'm anti-war, so we're gonna do. Right?
I don't want the bottom of the bread. I just want the top of it.
Just the like, is it a little crunchies?
Yeah. But
What was the dressing?
Russian dressing with the sauerkraut
Yeah, that's
and the bratwurst.
okay. I also like that. I don't know if I can show this on camera, but if you look at the inside of this, like you can see the sauerkraut. It's not just like
Yeah, we put 1 ounce of sauerkraut to every pound of meat. And then we cooked it.
that's pretty good.
We parboiled it in Guinness and then finished it up on as hot as we can get that smoker in the back. So
Why do you choose Guinness?
I was looking for something Irish.
Okay.
I mean, normally I just choose a regular beer, but I was looking for something Irish. And
Okay.
apparently Killian's Red is not a thing anymore, and I couldn't find Smithwick's. So I just
Okay.
went with.
I was thinking like if you were to cook a beer brought in beer, stuff like that, do people usually choose like a light beer? Is that just my imagination? I feel like that's a thing, but it could be. I could just be totally making that up.
A Pilsner is the most common.
Pilsner.
Or it's the most common one to use.
Okay.
Bush Light.
Bush Light.
hmm
Okay. Interesting.
Very low taste.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just easy to cook with. And
Yeah.
bonus, super cheap.
You know what? Big fan of that.
And not Milwaukee's best.
Not Milwaukee. I don't.
Mm-mm.
Which one's?
What's what?
What's Milwaukee's best?
It's just called Beast. Or it's called Milwaukee's Best. We always
Oh.
called it Beast.
Okay.
They were like the first cheap beer to mass produce an ice version.
Yeah.
That ice version was 5.5% alcohol. So that's what we wanted.
Okay.
Tastes terrible.
I haven't had beer in 3 or 4 years.
I thought you were going to say hours.
No. No.
Jeez. Even that would be,
Ah,
even that would be too long.
cut back.
I've
the
got a
last few
Guinness in there
hours.
if you want one.
I want one. My body
Doesn't
doesn't
agree
like
with
it when I
yeah.
do that. So, we just had to cut back. It's one of those things too that once you realize how good you feel without like that specific type of alcohol, for me, like I didn't feel good when I drank it. Didn't love it enough to go back. So, yeah.
I bought a new treadmill, set it up in my garage, brought a TV out there,
Mhm.
brought my PlayStation out there, big bottle of whiskey out there. I was out there for 90 something minutes yesterday.
Nice.
Cool.
It's like my little my walking pad that I have in my apartment.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'll walk and like just like be walking and I won't even turn the TV on. I'll just like watch outside and it feels so wrong. Like if I'm just watching outside, I should probably just go walk outside.
Yeah, that would make more sense, but I get what you're doing.
It's cold.
Yeah, I get
That's
what
the
you're
only
doing.
reason why I'm like I don't
and
want to bundle
yesterday
up.
sucked here.
I liked it.
Oh, because you were in the mood for it.
Yeah.
But it was cold and the wind was insane. I had to go
fair,
find a
that's
bunch of
fair.
my furniture this morning. Like it blew all over the place.
Kansas.
Yeah, it sucked.
Like what level of trash can being blown away were you at?
We were at 3 out of 5 trash cans.
No, like was it like it tilted over?
No,
It's
if-
down the yard.
That
It's
was
in
a
my
down
neighbor's
the
yard,
yarder.
or I don't know where my trash can
no, it was
is.
a down the yarder.
Okay.
No.
Down the yarder.
All right, so to make this a little bit more
We're gonna
authentic, you could use
Meatgistics
beef
this.
if you wanted, but pork generally, in my opinion, makes a better bratwurst, so we went with pork.
Just in case I need a palate cleanser.
I
I'd say.
also think, in general, sometimes the casing will separate if you cook it in beer first. So that does
Mhm.
happen, but
Okay.
it is a better look when you start it, like you simmer it in some beer
Hmm.
and then move it to a grill.
Okay.
It's a nicer look. Okay. So that's another food item.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to move on to the final food item of the day. You
Okay.
you lucked out of one. You were supposed to
I
also
know,
eat
I
cow's
know.
tongue,
But
but
you said the cow's tongue tastes good. No
was
comments
good.
have been made whether or not this is good, and
no
I don't
comments have been
want.
made.
But there's nothing to dip it in, Or-
There's nothing to dip it in. We're just gonna eat.
Oh, you
this.
just gotta
We're just gonna. Yep.
go for it.
raw
Full
it.
send.
Yep. So,
Uh-huh.
Allie is about to try foie gras for the first time in her life.
Do not tell me
We're
what it
gonna
is
cut
until
you
after I've
a
eaten it.
Thin slice. It's a thin slice.
It's the texture. It looks
I will
wonky.
eat a thinner or thicker slice.
I just
for
tried
you.
to smell it, but I smelled my microphone.
And there also is. There's very little to no smell.
It smells almost like tallow does.
Yeah. That's fair. That's actually a very good, and you'll learn why in a second.
Mm-mm.
Eat that. Swallow.
Oh no.
You can.
That's spoiled. That is not.
No, it's not.
What is it?
She doesn't like it.
I don't like any part of that.
Foie gras is fatty goose or duck liver.
Oh, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to
No,
be.
But it's on a
Okay.
custom diet.
But
Correct?
yeah. still-
Okay, but we need to talk about that because I feel like foie gras gets a bad rap because people are like, "Oh, those poor geese." No, the geese and ducks go over to the feed stations. Like they're force fed, or they're
What
fed
is
way
it?
more
Is
grain
it-
than a
okay,
normal
grain. Okay.
goose or duck would be.
Oh, that
But
aftertaste
they
is.
want to eat that. Yeah, this does have a displeasing aftertaste.
Am I wrong in saying it's almost metallic-y? I don't.
You could say there's a slight copper note in that.
So it is. It's
Yeah.
probably. I mean, it's a liver, so it probably is higher in
Yeah. Iron.
mineral. Iron. There we go.
Yeah,
Iron's a
liver's-
mineral, right?
Iron definitely is a mineral.
It's like that's the right
Very good.
category, right? Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so Allie's not a fan of foie gras.
No, I'm
Okay.
gonna do a palate cleanser with the brats are amazing.
Yeah, brats are great.
And this reminds me how much I actually love sauerkraut, and I didn't grow up on it.
Mhm.
It was something like as an adult I finally tried. It was like, why haven't we been eating this my whole life?
And it's so good for your gut, sauerkraut. There are a
Uh-huh.
bunch of people on Meatgistics who make their own. Like it's a
Mm,
big thread.
I need to jump on that.
Mm.
There's a brand that I don't know what it's called. I know Austin buys it as well. And they sell it at a lot of health food stores. It's like in a square container.
Oh yeah, you were talking about this the other day.
And there's a bunch of different flavors. There's one that I have right now that has like a ginger note to it. And I love ginger. And there's a salsa that they have. So I'll do the salsa in like a mix of like cucumbers and chickpeas and do like a Greek thing and then add in the salsa, which doesn't make any sense, but it's
Oh,
delicious.
whatever, sure. In the last 3 weeks or so, I've eaten more vegetables than I have probably in legitimately the year prior.
Why is that?
We did that. You were gone, so we did the Philly brat picture
Mhm.
thing. So I had red peppers and celery, and I was eating the red
Oh.
peppers. Like these red peppers are amazing. Like we had the
Yeah.
best red pepper I've ever had. It was so sweet. And then I was like, oh, celery. I used to like celery, so I was crunching on celery. I'm like, I still really like. And my body was like, yeah, no, that's what we want.
Uh-huh.
So then I bought more celery, and now this sauerkraut.
So are
So-
you back onto the vegetable game then? Is that gonna
Oops, excuse me. No, probably just the
Okay.
celery,
okay, so some man,
but I like it.
do you feel any different?
No. Yeah,
Okay.
yes, I get styes constantly now.
Yeah. that's
Once I started
unfortunate.
eating vegetables,
Maybe
I
you're
started-
allergic to it.
I actually thought about that because I was looking up. So for anyone who doesn't know, I had a huge sty in my eye 2 weeks ago, and now I have a even bigger one on the other eye. I am leaving it alone though. Like
Yeah.
I played with this one so much that I gave myself a black eye. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Yeah. that's
But
rough.
it could be an allergy.
yeah.
Like I looked up like how can you get styes so quickly? Because my current theory, which makes no sense, is a pair of glasses I have are
Mhm.
sitting too close to my eyes, and my eyelashes are hitting
Mhm.
them. And it's irritating that. I don't think that's
The
right.
glasses theory makes sense to me though. If
It
there was
does.
something on the glasses,
There's not. I swapped them all down
beyond
in
that,
alcohol. So
yeah.
yeah.
Maybe it's a sympathetic reaction
Two?
because I have been having eye issues,
Nah.
and so is Dylan. So maybe your body is just rebelling and wants to join us.
You're assuming I have some sort of sympathy within me, and that's
Yeah.
That's not
Wait, is it
on
sympathy or
brand for
empathy?
me.
I always go back and forth.
well, empathy is you can feel what other people are feeling. Sympathy is you feel bad for other people.
Is it?
I have
Okay.
empathy. I don't have sympathy.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the Kentucky meat shower?
Okay. I have. I don't
Okay.
remember what it is.
Apparently, it started raining meat from the sky one day in Kentucky
is
in
like-
the 1800s.
Oh,
or
the
like-
1800s. I was
It
going
was
to say
like
like 20s.
19. Yeah, it might have been like early 20s.
Okay.
And they've never really come up with a
I know what it is.
what is
What
it?
is it?
buzzards nearby were feeding, and since they all
Ooh.
often eat at the same time on a carcass that's often like rancid or bad,
Mhm.
terrible for you, so then they would take flight, and they are known to regurgitate stuff, and so
So that is a theory.
that's a working theory.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good theory. Is there something else that
No,
you know?
that is a theory.
That's the only
like? Did you have
Like-
another theory?
Do I have a theory? No.
No.
Okay,
No,
I
I
didn't
don't
know
have
if you were
theory
gonna
on it.
pull up like aliens.
No,
or
they
is it
are-
going that way or not?
There's a museum in Kentucky that has a exhibit on it right now because they're considering this the anniversary
No.
of it. Yeah. So
Where at in Kentucky?
the state,
The whole
the state,
The whole
the state of
state.
Kentucky.
Because I feel like there was somewhere
Yeah.
close to like Tennessee and Kentucky are bordering each other. So Nashville's about an hour and a half max from the border.
I probably have the wrong idea of Kentucky.
Probably. What do you think of Kentucky? Shall we talk to all of our Kentucky listeners?
Moonshine and Raylan Gaines from Timothy Oliphant's the marshal. Justified.
Okay.
Pretty much that.
A lot of Jesus. You don't.
And
You don't.
Kentucky?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or at least the people that I knew of were very like Southern Jesus.
Okay.
I don't know how to phrase that otherwise.
Sure.
Bowling Green,
I don't know anything about that.
right on the border
There's
of
a college there.
Kentucky, Tennessee. Is there?
I don't like college basketball, so that's probably why I don't care about Kentucky.
Could be.
And their football team's trash.
But nobody likes Kentucky basketball except for
Oh.
Kentucky people.
I was going to give you high fives. Nobody likes college basketball.
I
I
love
thought was
college
what you were going to say.
basketball.
No, it's
No.
boring.
It's great.
Yeah, it's not that great.
Mm,
But
It's
anyways,
fun.
that meat storm went on
Mhm.
for multiple minutes. Everything was falling down from the sky, and there was spoiled food covering a few acres. So Patrick's theory does make the most sense. The other one is a possibility of something getting pulled. I mean, it has rained fish and frogs before. Like, it does happen. Like,
What do you
there
mean?
can be such an incredible up vent, I guess,
Okay.
that things do get pulled up into the air.
Okay. What time of year was this?
It would have been now because they're calling this the something anniversary, 100
Okay.
and something years.
So there are tornadoes in Tennessee and Kentucky.
Okay,
Could it have been tornado season and a cow gets sucked up and
sure. I'm ripped apart.
yeah.
Yeah, all right. I like that theory better. It's more fantastical. Patrick's is
Is
a
it?
little bit prosaic. It's like,
Think so?
I
I guess I do get a Wizard of Oz picture in my head.
Yeah.
And think of like a little.
while I like
Cows
cows,
spinning
it's
around.
funny to me to think of a cow going up and then getting like pulled apart.
Oh, that visual I don't
Listen,
like.
if you're in a tornado, once your feet are off the ground, you're done.
I think I
like,
would try to start swimming.
Just have fun.
yeah.
Right.
just-
Like, you're going. You're not making it out of that.
Do you think imaginary music would start playing?
I think your brain would go into such a state of shock
Mm-hmm.
that I bet you don't even hear the wind.
You just black out more or less.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's not the fun answer, but
No, but
that's my answer.
I just think would my brain start just like
I'm gonna try just
making
some of
up
the creamer
stuff.
to see if maybe it's
I
really
mean-
just the creamer I like.
it might be. I think I put too much in mine because I don't like it. It just tastes like the creamer.
Oh yeah, that tastes like eggnog. That's amazing.
No, don't you dare do eggnog dirty like that.
Take a little sip of just this. It tastes like eggnog.
I used to just straight drink that. It's just unfortunate. No, different flavors,
Take a little sip of it.
thickness, creaminess. Yes,
And vanilla. This
no.
one tastes like eggnog.
different flavors.
Ah,
There's no
smell it.
spice.
then smell it.
Smells like French vanilla.
Okay.
Like
That
it
is what
needs
is.
like a nutmeg, cinnamony.
Maybe I haven't had
sort of
eggnog
thing.
in too long.
You should just go drink some more eggnog.
All right. Do you know what OK stands for?
Oklahoma.
Uh-uh.
OKAY.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, that's not it. It doesn't.
It's not Oklahoma.
Just stand
Like,
for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. OK actually stands for something. So the word OK is
Like-
actually created to make the letters O and K, which is short for something.
Okie dokie.
Nope.
Artichoke.
It's actually all correct. It was how they would have said it back in old
well,
English times.
that is not correct spelling at all.
I know. Well, I
That-
mean,
none of that
if
makes
you look
sense.
back at like
So
old
AC?
English, like air conditioning.
Well, all correct.
Right. we no longer spell things the way that they did in Old English.
They spelled it with an O and a K.
Yep.
I don't know if
All correct.
that makes me feel like I'm illiterate or they're illiterate. Like it feels.
We based our language
wonky.
off theirs, though.
So we're the ones that messed up.
Yeah. Well, we're the ones that made a change, at least. I have no idea why I wrote that down, but I thought of it this morning.
It's
and
just a fun fact.
Wrote it down.
Here's your fun fact for the day.
Yeah. All right. Here's another question for you. How many
Okay.
people do you think are killed by rhinos a year?
A dozen?
Patrick?
Half dozen.
I don't know.
First of all, a dozen?
I don't know. Am I undershooting or overshooting?
Overshooting.
I mean, people do dumb things.
Yeah, that's fair.
There could also be like zoo freak accidents.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can die from a rhino hit pretty quick.
So it's 3 to 6.
Nice.
Now,
Okay.
8 have been killed in the last 6 months in one park in Nepal.
Okay,
The
so my
rhinos
dozen
are
doesn't
just-
sound so bad anymore.
The rhinos are just
They
going
need to
on a
call-
tear.
They got to call Nick in to.
Yeah, get rid of those rhinos.
Call him Nick.
Nice. 10 people have died from animal attacks in this one park in Nepal in the last 6 months, and 8 of them were rhinos. A tiger and an elephant were the other 2.
What's happening?
I don't know, but those animals are pissed.
Are the animals revolting?
Yeah.
Or are the staff just not trained?
Makes more sense. No, I think the animals are revolting.
Could it be both? Could it be like a combination?
Sure.
Like maybe they've got a high turnover rate and
Now, I was like researching because I saw that story and I was like, okay, how many people die a year?
Mhm.
I searched that every way you could imagine. The only thing I got is how many rhinos are killed by poachers every year until like I went to the 3rd page of Google.
how many rhinos are killed by poachers every year? Interesting.
Yeah. So they don't want to tell you that rhinos kill people.
Yeah.
They just want you to be like, oh, poor rhinos. When really they're killing 3 to 6 people a year. And when you see a rhino most of the time in a zoo or a safari,
Yeah.
their horn has been extremely shortened. 'Cause
That's a good
Some
point.
of these rhinos have like 3-foot horns that are sharp as, yeah, like you would not want to get pierced with that. That is a bad way to go.
Yeah, I want to get pierced.
I bet you rhinos are where the legends of unicorns come from.
Honestly, I don't think unicorns sound that insane when you think about it that way.
No.
Like
No,
a
what-
horse with a horn. I mean, you've got
We've got narwhals.
rhinos.
Whales with a horn.
No, we don't.
You ever seen a narwhal?
That's not real. Is that
Is
real?
this like your birds aren't real thing?
No, this is the only time I know a narwhal is from Elf.
So you think narwhal is a fake
Mythic.
animal?
Well, it's like
thought it was real.
it's like the unicorn of Wales.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it looks exactly like
Stop! They're real.
their
I legit
horns. Their horns even look like how a unicorn horn is, like spiraled.
Yeah, but unicorns.
What's that?
Unicorns aren't real.
Unicorns?
So now
Maybe
maybe
not
they
real.
are. Is that AI?
No.
It's a
Narwhals
real
are
animal.
a thing.
I thought it was just from Elf.
No, narwhals are real.
Oh my gosh. Well, what do you like?
What do they do with it? That's an
How do you not
interesting
just
you should ask.
break off like a swordfish? I kind of wonder that about them sometimes. Of like, how do they not just like get hit? It just looks breakable.
Oh, a swordfish's bill is extremely
It's really durable.
very
Okay.
durable. There's numerous instances of them jumping onto boats and spearing
Hmm.
people with it. And
I've seen that.
yeah,
Okay, so that makes sense.
yep,
Yeah, yeah.
it doesn't come out. But there was just an article I saw like for the first time the other day, and it was talking about for the first time ever they know what narwhals use their tusks for
Really? Oh, it is a
from
tusk.
1 day ago. I have no idea. I haven't clicked on it, but I just kept seeing this. So if you
Okay.
want to find out more about narwhals, you can news.google them
This is a fun part of this
and
podcast
find
where
out.
sometimes
Allie learns.
you'll learn that there's
Allie
not just
learns.
magical creatures. They're real. Next thing you know, you're gonna say mermaids are real too. Eh.
All right, your father gave me a bit of an existential crisis
'Kay.
Earlier today. I was complaining about my eye to him, and he was talking about going to the optometrist. So I'm
Mhm.
not doing that. He's like, I go all the time. I'm like, why
He-
would you want to know if
he
you were
does go
going
all the time.
blind? And he's like, no, I definitely would. He's like, if you were going to go blind, if they told you you're going to go blind in a
Mhm.
year, wouldn't there be things you'd want to go do, like go see around the world?
Mm-hmm.
And I had no answer for that. I wasn't like, yeah, I'd go see the Great Pyramids of Giza or something. I had
Yeah.
nothing. I was like,
So this is something I've been thinking similarly about because I've had to wear glasses for about 2 weeks now, and I don't see anywhere near as well with them, even though they're the right prescription. It's just glasses versus contacts for my
Better.
prescription strength so much better.
Okay.
I can see everything around. Like I don't have smudges. It's just much better. So I was at my parents' house last week one day, just like hanging out outside. They live out on a couple of acres, so I can go outdoors there. And at my home, I live in an apartment, so I
Yeah.
can't really do that. And I started walking around, and I was like, you know what? I wonder what it's like if I take off my glasses and walk. And I can't see
Anything.
anything.
Yeah, you're blind.
It's just
Right.
blurred.
Yeah.
Everything is blurred. And so I was walking around. I have never been more grateful and appreciative of contacts and glasses in my life, because did that for a while, and one, my balance got knocked off.
Mhm.
So I was thinking about losing your vision. Your balance is also got to have issues. And then I think instead of having like, I want to go see this, it's more of the details to me, because as soon as I put them back on, I realized like there was a ton of trees in front of me. I was far enough away from the trees I wasn't gonna hit the trees, but like there was all these trees and my dog was out in front of me. I couldn't see that,
Yeah.
but then I could see all these little leaves all over the ground, and like I would have had no idea
that they were.
that those were
yeah,
there. So I think that it's less about going somewhere to see something and more about like, I want to know what like my nephew's face looks like. Like I want to
That's a
know
fair one.
the little details of
that's a fair
things,
one.
which, yeah, I've been thinking about vision a lot lately. So
The only thing I could come up with is I'd want to go see brown bears eating salmon in the wild.
that'd be cool.
The only, like, other than that, like, I don't care about seeing. I mean, I've seen the Grand Canyon. I've seen, a bunch of beautiful parks. I don't
Yeah,
want to see the Eiffel Tower or anything like none of that.
I go for the
me.
pyramids. If
Eh,
you're talking about a big place
I don't know. They're just like, yeah, that's a mystery.
or something,
I mean,
maybe,
Patrick
like
already
South
solved
America.
the
Oh,
pyramids.
What is it? Which
Trailer
theory?
hitch?
The one that that's a trailer
The
hitch to
trailer
Earth.
hitch.
What do you mean?
So then, like,
pyramids are a trailer hitch.
so if a bigger
mean?
mothership came along and
Hooks
then
up there.
hooks up to us and
drags
just
Earth.
takes us elsewhere. So we're just
How does it hook up?
you're asking questions.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
that
okay.
part's not
You
important.
got to use your own imagination.
If it was like a tunnel, I'd immediately be like, yeah,
No, it's like trailer hitch sticks out. Those stick out.
okay,
probably
yeah.
use a magnetic.
way
I guess there are
works.
some
Sure.
tunnels
For
through it,
magnetism.
so
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, that's to put the cable through.
Yes,
So-
yes. Makes
Or
sense.
it gave a super advanced environment like internet access or something, like, because there's no light, there's no torches and stuff, there's no soot, so to speak,
Inside.
inside.
Yeah.
So how'd they even build it with that? It was a natural power grid or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
The pyramids are one of the most
it fascinated
fun.
me.
Yeah, I love thinking about them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Also, Chase blew my mind the other day, pointing out that your thumb is technically not a finger.
What do you mean?
It only has one hinge,
Mm-hmm.
so technically it's more like a toe.
Isn't that why they call it a thumb and not a finger?
Who knows?
I don't know. Why,
But-
this isn't blowing my mind in the same
it
way,
blew
but
my
like,
mind. I mean, because he said that's a toe, not a finger, and I was like, what? I've never heard that. So I looked it up, and this is like a well
huh.
argued thing.
Speaking of thumbs, I learned something about myself that explains why I can do the back thing,
Uh-huh.
but I can also do like a thumb to a wrist thing.
Right.
Hypermobility.
Yeah,
Yeah. Apparently, that's like a thing.
it is a thing.
Yeah. Now I'm learning all sorts of the like pros and cons of it.
Some of the cons.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about some of the cons?
Should I?
Well, a lack of muscle
Yeah.
is one of them.
Yeah. It explains why my strength in lifting on certain things
Yeah.
has always been a struggle.
Yeah. Oh,
Shaka Khan.
if you Shaka Khan,
We're listing cons.
Genghis or Jenghis.
There you go.
Not recovering from that one.
Genghis Khan. It will be harder for you to put muscle on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like my hips just aren't very strong, and
Right.
it finally adds up as to why I've had issues with.
What are the pros?
I'm flexible,
Yeah. Okay.
but also it kind of sucks because like I'm flexible, but it's really hard to stretch. Stretching doesn't. It's
Feel
not like
anything to you.
satisfying.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense because you're not really pulling the tight muscle fibers.
Uh huh.
You're just like, oh, I can put my hand back there.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right. Moving on. We have one Meat Matters today, and it comes from your father. I
Mhm.
searched. Ask Patrick and Chase how many times over there in the last 2 days I've gone. There's literally nothing. Like I have nothing in the meat
Yeah.
industry. Proposal to ban lab-grown meat in Nebraska gets pushback from ranchers and farm groups. Very
Yeah.
interesting. And I've got a couple ideas on it. There's an article or a section of the article I want to read. But before we get to where I want to read, basically their take on it, and I'm a little bit putting words in their mouth, so Patrick will hate it, but they welcome the competition. And the reason they're welcoming the competition is because they don't think it's ever going to be either as tasty or as affordable as their product.
I love this so much because it's a Midwesterner coming in and being like, come at us.
Yeah.
Try. Our product is better. And there's like an amount of confidence that I respect, an amount of cockiness that I laugh at.
Now, there's also a little bit of keep the government out of these decisions things, which I like.
Yeah, that I respect too. And it's, in general, even not looking at a government situation, it's like, hey, this is my battle. I don't need you to go fight it for me. I'm working hard and it will be fine.
Sorry. I got to stop eating that.
You're good.
The danger with that, though, is even given free markets, occasionally consumers make bad choices, or there's enough of a push from the industry where they're like, even though consumers want something else, we're just going to go this way because it's so much easier and so much cheaper. Red dye being one of those things.
Okay, that's where I'm a little bit torn on things, because when it comes to a health standpoint, if it's something that, there needs to be some sort of long-term studies on what these fake meat products will do to you. Because if it has a long-term effect, and if it's even poisonous by any means, like that's ethically wrong to tell people, hey, you should go eat this because it's good for you. Like it feels very wrong to me.
Yeah, and I don't know about the two that are approved for sale in the United States, but I know the first one that really started doing this, and it was in, I keep wanting to say Jerusalem. What's the country where all the Jewish people come from?
Israel.
Oh
my gosh. Okay, we're going to pass over that.
Thank you. They were using what's called immortal cells,
yes,
which are cancerous cells.
Okay, so then people have come out and said that scientists, doctors have come out and said that it's not a problem.
Yeah, of course.
But that feels the same to me as like any other issue where somebody just goes, well, no, it doesn't. It just is not a problem. Okay, you need to show me the evidence as to why it's not a problem.
Yeah, they also told my dad not to worry about getting sprayed with Agent Orange in Vietnam. Right, so they lie. They're liars.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
They
do it all the time.
Yeah.
Like it literally, companies make decisions on, we're just going to keep doing this and the lawsuit is cheaper than the recall.
Yeah.
So I'm not trusting any of them. I'm not putting anything in my body that started out as a cancer cell. I'm just not. I
don't understand the draw to it, I guess.
Marketing. I mean, that is what it is. It's they want to get to people who want to feel like they can separate themselves from the natural life cycle of food, and then nothing, quote unquote, has to die.
That's fair. That's where I don't understand things. And my dad and I literally just had this conversation, because the older I get, the more that I have now started watching gardening videos and like how I can grow.
You're only 26 or
28.
Oh, whatever.
26 sounds better. We'll go with it. But like, I don't know. I just had one video pop up one time with somebody that like planted this like massive garden around their home that has all this food that sustains them for over a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's just cool. I don't know. I just think that's really awesome. And I love spending time outside. So I was like, you
have to have the right setup to do it.
There's a lot of factors. I'm not anywhere near that point of life right now that I would want to. This is like a 10 years down the road. Maybe I could do it.
Skill, dedication.
A husband that pays for everything else in my life.
There's a lot that goes into gardening.
Yes.
Like, it's not easy.
No, there's so much science to it too that.
If you are interested in it, though, that is, I think, our second most popular thread on Meatgistics is the gardening one. So there's a lot of information on there. That would be a good place to start. And you would you could have direct contact with those people who are like, hey, you did it like this. And they're like canning too.
Yes. That one I need to understand more of, because if I were to get to the point where I want to make food for a year, gotta learn that.
Can it. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. But because of all that, like, I feel like whenever I eat food that's natural, I just feel better. Like if I eat something that's like God created, I'm gonna feel better than if I eat
Doritos.
But
Although Doritos are delicious.
Dopamine hits are pretty
Yeah,
great
it's pretty
there.
good.
Pretty
It's
big
pretty
fan.
good. All right. So the portion of that I want to read is several farm organizations, including Nebraska Farm Bureau, Nebraska cattlemen, and Nebraska pork producers, agree they're not worried about competition from the emerging industry. Those groups prefer a sister bill that would only require they clearly be labeled as lab-grown products to separate them from traditional meat. More than a dozen states have also issued similar labeling bills, and some, like Colorado, have seen ban efforts abandoned in favor of labeling measures, which honestly makes more sense to me. In this article, they're also talking about, like, there was a push to force them to call it fake. I think that's probably too far as well.
I kind of agree on there needs to be some sort of a labeling difference, though.
Oh, there'll be a labeling difference, and they'll have to call it something like either meat substitute or lab-grown meat.
Okay, so if you were to call something beef that's not beef, obviously it's an issue. But if you call something like a hamburger, is that okay?
No. If
Because
it doesn't have,
they have turkey burgers.
sure, and they call them turkey.
They
burgers.
call them turkey burgers.
Yeah.
But like a brat,
you can't call. Sure, that gets a little bit more interesting because technically a brat should have cloves, should have a few other like key ingredients, and we sell brat seasonings that don't have clove in it, right? So that's a little bit difficult and more nuanced.
And a brat could be different types of meat anyway.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. But if I'm serving somebody something that is a chicken brat, I'm going to say this is a chicken brat.
Yeah.
Or this is, other than that, you're assuming it's pork or beef.
Okay.
So,
have you ever been in the section of like a grocery store where they have some of the like plant-based meats?
Yeah, only to make fun of the people shopping there, though.
So I've been in one of those sections before. There's one store I'll go to that is right next to a clearance section.
Sure.
So I thought it was just meat, and I was like, "Oh, that looks good." Pick it up, and I was like, "Wait, no, this isn't.
It's fake.
This isn't fake." But it's like chicken nuggets, sans the chicken, and I'm like, I don't.
And all of that stuff's so ultra processed.
So processed.
So processed. Like, there's no way you're convincing me that's healthier for you.
No.
Now, some of it is actually, I've talked about it a bunch. Griller's Crumbles, I think is what they call it. It's from Morningstar.
Yeah.
That's
I've seen those.
delicious. I like that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'll eat that, no problem. The rest of it, I kind of feel like tastes nowhere near as good, and it's definitely not better for you.
Yeah.
So it's just easy.
But is it any easier?
Yes.
Is?
Yeah, that was Griller's Crumbles. I leave them out for 20 minutes. They start to frost, and I throw them in a pan for
No, but you can
5
get
minutes.
that for like beef. Like
no, it's harder to cook beef than it is to cook this stuff.
Okay.
For sure.
I'm thinking of like those like Jimmy Dean's little crumble package things.
Yeah.
Like it's already cooked. You just kind of like sprinkle it out.
Then it's
So
then it's similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're saying is with what that would be, you don't have to cook it to a certain temperature.
Nope.
It's
just get
food safety easy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
So, yeah, but very interesting that the pushback on this is coming from the people it is coming from. They also talk about in the article how the governor seems to be the main one like pushing this ban bill, and he's also like the biggest beef and pork producer in the state. So seems like maybe a little bit of a conflict of interest. It's also possible that I misunderstood the article. So, but they do say who is the largest beef and pork producer in the state. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, covering myself there by saying I could have misunderstood. All right, moving on to wild card. We've only got 2 videos today because I ran one by Patrick.
Okay.
And he determined that it was AI. We were going to start doing that with all videos first because I think
I can't tell.
He pointed out that the leopard attacking the caiman that I showed the other day was AI.
Okay.
So we don't want to get caught with it.
Okay.
We're going to click on the bottom one first. Why don't we just watch it on mine?
Okay.
That'll be easiest. So this is a ridiculous buck coming out of a chute, I guess. I mean, that's atypical at that point. Like
that one's not AI. After we just talked about AI.
No, that's not AI. So that's non-typical at this point. So you're going to score that much differently. And the fact that it's coming out of a barn, I'm assuming, and has a tag in its ear.
Okay.
This is some sort of high fence operation. Do you know about high fence hunting?
Yeah. We have a family friend that I think has their dad has a high fence place in Texas.
Okay. Yeah, Texas is huge for it.
Yeah.
Personally, I have no problems with it. Like, if that's what you've chosen to do, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't see it as the same as other hunting.
I don't know enough about any of it to
Yeah.
know anything.
But the only deer I've ever killed with a bow was with a crossbow, right?
Yeah.
That's not bow
Yeah.
hunting. So there are different levels to everything. It's how
That's
deep
fair.
you want to get into something.
That's fair.
And if you want to just go shoot trophy bucks, like if that is your thing,
Yeah.
have at it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go catch small muskie. I want to go catch huge trophy muskie. If you told me that
That's fair.
I could fish in this little area that only had huge muskies, I'd be like, that's where I'm fishing. I'm not
Yeah.
going to mess with all this other things.
Kind of a
All right.
work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And then this one kind of, it's a little off brand for us.
Mhm. A
Um,
little concerned by that.
no. It is
It's a baby.
the smallest baby deer of all time.
I want to hold it.
I know.
Like, it wants to be friends.
Okay, it doesn't actually want to be friends. That's my problem with this.
No, but it does want to be friends.
It
Look
doesn't
at it.
want to be friends.
It's laying down.
Yes.
Look at it. It wants to be pet.
Do you know it doesn't want to be pet? Do you know why it does that lay down?
To get you to look into its non-existent
It's-
soul
yeah.
and just melt. I
So
don't know.
baby deer are born with actually almost no smell whatsoever.
Oh.
It's a
Okay.
defense mechanism. So when the mama deer has to go away somewhere, she will leave them just laying somewhere hidden.
Mhm.
And then bears or whatever walking by will have a very hard time finding them because there's no scent.
The
for them to
deer
get
doesn't
to.
have a smell to it.
The
Not
deer-
it doesn't have the ability to smell.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
I was
The
going
deer
the
is born
other
with
way on
not
that. Okay.
without a sense of smell. It's
Okay.
born without scent.
A scent. Okay, got it.
So its natural reaction when anything is somewhat threatening or freaks it out is just to lay down and hide.
Oh no,
So that's
it's
what
scared.
it's doing. Yes, it's not wanting to be pet.
But
So-
if dangerous, then why so cute?
So you were, what do you mean? It's not dangerous.
Well, then why can't
In
I pet it?
danger. You shouldn't touch wild animals, Allie.
But then why can't I pet it? Dogs were wild at one
Okay,
point.
I'll tell you why you shouldn't pet it. Because you've now transferred scent to this animal and you're putting it in danger.
Now the mother's not gonna love it.
That's
Is that not the way? It's not like birds.
True. It's the birds. That's not true of birds either.
No.
No.
I was told that my
I
whole
don't know
childhood.
why people, where that came from, because I heard it too as a kid.
Yeah.
It is not true. I've talked to
Like there
one person who's a, what do you call it, bird watcher, and somebody who rehabilitates, like, what do they call raptors.
Okay.
So like birds of prey. So like owls and
Okay.
eagles and stuff.
It's not dinosaurs.
Not dinosaurs. No. Chris Pratt and I aren't
This is
on
not my day.
are not on first name basis.
Yet.
But yeah, no, there is no truth to, like, if a baby bird falls out of its nest, leave it there. Like, no,
Yeah.
if its nest is right there, put it back in.
Okay.
Get something so you're not having direct contact with it,
Mhm.
but that's so that you don't transfer something, some bacteria to it or
Okay.
something that it can't deal with. It's not because the mama bird's gonna be like, I can't go back to the nest now.
They
A
always told
human
us
was
that about
there."
like eggs that we found on the playground. They're like, don't touch it because
'Cause
then the
they
mother
don't-
will never come back.
No, because they don't want kids touching it and getting
The things
some
adults
disease or
tell the
something from it.
children
Yeah.
that we never learn the truth on
Yeah.
makes me
Well-
so embarrassed on days
Now you
like
have.
this.
Now you know the truth.
Anyway, that deer is adorable.
It was adorable.
I want one as a pet.
Yeah.
My apartment complex has 0 restrictions on pets, so it is a possibility.
They actually do say deer make fairly decent pets. If
Really?
you have, yep. So people will do it and they'll put a collar around them,
Mm-hmm.
hoping that, because
Sure.
you can't keep it just like right there. Like, it's
Mhm.
gonna escape. But there are tons of examples of like deers come back
Mhm.
all the time, like nightly to people's houses, and they'll put collars on it, hoping that
Mhm.
somebody sees that and is like, okay, this one, don't shoot it. It's a pet. But you also have to realize, like, hey, somebody might shoot your deer and eat it. Like, how much love do you want to pour into this animal that somebody else might shoot and kill?
If I'm a hunter sitting out in a blind and I see a deer scurry on by with a collar,
Oh yeah.
I think I would just start laughing. I don't know, like
Oh,
Like,
okay.
what would I
We were going
do?
different places.
you
with
would
that.
immediately shoot it.
Yeah.
I just think my
I'm
brain
not
would be
really-
like,
yeah.
what is happening?
Yeah,
Is
like,
this
that's
some
a
weird
wild
metaverse?
animal. Right.
Like, yeah.
You can't just put a collar on something and be like, okay,
Yeah.
now you can't kill this one. I guess I can.
Like, are we going to start putting collars on cows now? Actually, I'm sure that's probably a thing.
Did you see the thing about the 6.5 foot cow?
No.
There's a
do you mean?
6.5 foot tall steer
On all fours.
on all fours.
Okay.
This thing is huge until it got some injury when it was 2 years old. The lady used to ride it
Okay.
like a horse,
yeah.
but yeah,
What
six
do
and a half
they-
feet tall.
What do you do with that?
She brings it to like fairs and stuff.
Oh, I say
What?
that would feed a lot of people.
Yeah, maybe breed it. But-
Maybe. Yeah, because then you have a ultra superior species of steer.
Most expensive cow in the world is somewhere down in Argentina. Patrick, do you have any memory of how much it was? I want to say people own shares in it,
Mm-hmm.
and their shares are a couple $1 million each.
Stop.
Yeah, like
That's
because it has
cool.
the perfect genetics, so they use it for like cloned beef all the time.
Ah,
You know
Weird.
about cloned beef, right?
I know very little about
Okay,
it.
most of the beef that people are eating nowadays apparently is cloned.
Mm.
So
I did learn recently about a lot of I need a confirmation that this is a legit thing or not.
'Kay.
Like meat that you find in the grocery store is very red. A lot of beef that you would find from like what we just got
Mhm.
is much more purple toned. Was told that's because there's color being added to it.
there's not color being added to it. There's certain packaging things that they will do to keep it red in the packaging.
Okay.
That's accurate. They'll introduce certain gases to it.
Okay.
But
But I have noticed that with
but
our
you-
beef is much more purple.
not really.
Yeah, it's much darker
Okay.
than what I would go buy at the store.
Huh? That's interesting. I'll pay attention to that. I'll cook some of it this weekend, so I'll pay attention to that. All right, and then we'll report back next week.
Sounds great.
All right. If anybody is going to Pheasant Fest and you find Allie and I, the first person to find Allie and I gets a $50 gift card. We're also going to
Mhm.
put this out on social media, though, so hopefully you listen to this before you go to Pheasant Fest.
Come find us. It'll
We'll be
fun.
there Friday all day.
Yep.
Thanks for checking out the Meatgistics podcast. To shop everything but the meat, head on over to waltons.com. To get your meat processing questions answered by experts and enthusiasts alike, head on over to our online community at meatgistics.com. Waltons, everything but the meat.